Yo, what it is and what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kai, and today we're going to be reacting to Jimmy High Roller's video. We are witnessing history in the making. Now, I'm pretty sure this is about Luka Doncic, and just so y'all know, Luka's actually my favorite player in the NBA. And, peep this, I got a new camera, guys. So this is your first time seeing me. A little face reveal. You know, sunlight. But I'm kind of excited for this video, because I know Luka Doncic, he's going to be the next GOAT. I don't know. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be the face of the league after everything's said and done, like after LeBron retires and whatnot. So, I think this will be interesting. So, let's get right into the video.
How do you know when someone is the most valuable player in the NBA? Is it strictly based off of producing wins for their team? Do you factor in the historic significance of their performances game after game? Is it about being the most versatile and complete player? Or maybe it's a combination of all of these things.
That boy Ja is dirty. I just saw a clip of him the other day on Instagram. Bruh, he's another one that's going to be the face of the league. Or it's up there. The new era of NBA players.
There's no exact science behind the elusive NBA MVP award and who we determine who it is. But what happens when a dozen different players are playing like the most valuable player, but only one of them can go home with the award?
That's facts. There's like mad people producing at such high levels.
Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Your favorite athlete to be pack Rage think this season's was the most valuable player in the NBA was better than what we have today with members of the media voting for the MVP. This was far from the case. The voting results of some of these seasons was absolute mayhem. Back in 1972, a young Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was by far the best player in the NBA, averaging 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 6 assists a game while leading the Bucks to 63 wins. And as a result of playing like Jesus in a Bucks jersey, Kareem walked away that season as the league MVP. But that didn't stop players from voting like they didn't know what MVP even stood for. Because that season, there weren't just a few players who received first place MVP votes. There weren't a handful of players. There wasn't 12.
Jeez.
12 or 13 or 14 or 15 or 16 or 17 or 18. But 19 players from 16 different teams who received first place MVP votes. But get this, there were only 17 teams in the NBA at the time, which means nearly every single team in the NBA had a player that received an MVP vote that season. And you're probably thinking, some of these players received votes from their teammates or maybe even voted for themselves, but no. The league prohibited players from voting for anyone on their team or voting for themselves. These voting results were completely authentic and completely unhinged. Now this season, there will more than likely not be 19 players who receive MVP votes. In fact, this season is so loaded with all-time elite talent that there will be multiple players who will have historically great seasons this year, and they won't even get a mention for the MVP. Luka, Giannis, Curry, Tatum, Morant, Embiid, Jokic, SGA, Booker, Mitchell.
Yo, comment down below. Who's your guys' MVP this year? Like I said at the beginning of the video, Luka's mine. I think Luka's the best player in the league right now. IMO, at least. I know some people might say Jason Tatum or whatever. Jason Tatum's a bucket too, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I like Luka's playstyle more.
Durant, all playing at an MVP caliber in what is quickly becoming the greatest statistical season in NBA history. If you combine points, rebounds, and assists, here are the combined statistical totals of every MVP in modern NBA history. Sometimes this total is relatively low, like Steve Nash's 2005 MVP, but sometimes it's off the charts, like Russell Westbrook's record-breaking total of 52.7 in 2017. But on average, since 1980, league MVPs had a total of 42 combined points, rebounds, and assists. So if a player can reach this number, 42, it's a solid indicator that they are on a path to becoming the league MVP, or at least a frontrunner. This season, SGA, Ja Morant, Tatum, Durant, Curry, Embiid, Giannis, and Luka are all averaging totals of more than 42. This is unheard of, and it's going to leave a tough decision for the voters of the coveted award. There are currently 6 players across the league who are averaging over 31 points a game. The last time this many players averaged at least 31 a game was, well, never. In fact, in the last 15 seasons combined, there have been 6 players who averaged at least 31 points per game. Let me say that again. there are as many players averaging at least 31 points per game this season as there were players who averaged over 31 points per game in the last 15 seasons combined. The NBA has never seen anything like this, and yet the numbers get even crazier. Offensive box plus minus is one of the better statistics at quantifying a player's offensive impact. In fact, here are some of the greatest offensive seasons since the league began tracking the stat back in 1974. Here's Steve Nash's 2006 MVP season. Here's Derrick Rose's MVP season in 2011, right next to Giannis's first MVP season. But we're not even close to the best offensive seasons of all time. Here's Magic Johnson's MVP season in 1990. Here's Russell Westbrook's MVP season and Kevin Durant's MVP season. And just above that are the best of the best. James Harden in 2019, LeBron in 2009, Tracy McGrady in 2003, and Steph Curry's unanimous MVP season in 2016. Steph remains the only player to ever surpass the +10 threshold in offensive box plus minus. And this season, he's doing it again. But even better, Steph is currently having statistically the best offensive season in modern NBA history. Wow. So where does all of this put Steph in the MVP race this season? 10th. The man is 10th on the MVP ladder. Now, one of the main reasons why Steph's offensive impact is at an all-time high is due to his mind-boggling efficiency. At this point, it's become universally agreed upon that Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. But this season, he's taken his shooting and scoring to another level. Because at the moment, Steph has the highest true shooting percentage of any player to ever average at least 30 points per
70% true shooting percentage is crazy. What?
Game. Or 29 points per game for that matter. Or 28 points, or 27, or 26, or any point per game average even remotely close to his. To find a player who scored more efficiently than Steph has this season, you have to go all the way down to just 16 points per game from Jared Allen last season. But Jared's a big man whose shots consist of 3-foot layups. What about perimeter players? Guys who take jump shots? Well, there has never, ever been a single perimeter player who had a season with a true shooting percentage as high as Steph's is this season. Not at 30 points per game, not at 20, not at 10, not even at 5. It has never happened. This season, Steph is shooting at a higher percentage than any perimeter player in the history of the NBA while scoring 32 points per game. The man is 10th on the MVP leaderboard. So, if Steph is 10th, which players could possibly be putting together a better season than him? Well, one of those players is Jason Tatum, who has led the Celtics to one of their best starts in franchise history. Currently, the Celtics have a net rating of 7.7, which is on pace to being the best net rating the organization has had in its entire existence.
All right, hold up. I can't stop thinking about it. All right. Who's y'all's top 5? Comment down below. My top 5, for every position, it has to be Steph Curry at 1, Michael Jordan, LeBron, KD, Shaq. Nobody's beating that 5, on God. If you think so, comment down below. Who's beating that 5?
This season, Jason Tatum is averaging 31, 7, and 5 a game, which is a stat line that is so absurd that prior to this season, there have only been 3 players in NBA history to achieve it. Those players were Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Kevin Durant. The man is putting up all-time GOAT level numbers. He is 3rd on the MVP ladder because the 2 players ahead of him are on path to completely redefining the standard of an all-time great season. Throughout NBA history, there have only been 3 players to win a league MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Michael Jordan in 1988, Hakeem Olajuwon in 1994, and Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2020. Of all the accomplishments a player can achieve, this might just be the rarest and most impressive. And Giannis might just do it again this season. Because if his record-breaking 2020 MVP campaign wasn't dominant enough, he's somehow replicating those numbers again this season. Giannis is not only averaging 31, 12, and 5 a game, he's doing it while being the best defensive player in the entire NBA. Giannis is playing like a Shaq-Tim Duncan hybrid right now, and it's just become so normal at this point that no one's even talking about it. And somehow, one player is having an even better season than Giannis is. Last season, en route to winning a second MVP, Nikola Jokic shattered just about every advanced metric. Jokic led the league in win shares, box plus minus, value over replacement, and he set a new all-time record for the highest single-season PER in league history.
I like Jokic a lot. I think he's a really great player. I don't know, but it's just something about him. I just think he's like boring. I don't know. When I watch his game, I think Giannis should have won the last MVP. Maybe even the one before that too, but I don't know. Just kind of eh.
Now, the old record was one that stood for half a century, when Wilt Chamberlain averaged a modest 50 points and 26 rebounds a game, which earned him a PER of 32.08. For 5 decades, even the best players the league has ever seen could not touch this mark. Not LeBron, not Bird or Shaq, not even Michael Jordan. But Jokic managed to not only break Wilt's record, he shattered it. And this season, Luka Doncic is on pace to beating Jokic's record. At the moment, Luka is averaging 34 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. So if Jason Tatum's stat line was historic, what does that make Luka's stat line? Well, here's a list of every player in the history of the NBA who has averaged at least 34, 8, and 9 a game. That's the whole list. That's it. There's nobody else. Luka is on pace to breaking the NBA record for player efficiency while averaging a damn near 34-point triple-double. And that, ladies and gentlemen, might just be what it takes to win an MVP this season. But what about some of these other players who are having awesome seasons? Well, to put into perspective just how insane you have to be playing right now to even crack the MVP leaderboard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 31 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds a game on 53% shooting while having one of the highest PERs in NBA history. He is 7th on the MVP leaderboard. Kevin Durant is averaging 37 and 5 a game on career high efficiency. Take a wild guess at where he lands on the MVP leaderboard at the moment.
Whoa.
Nowhere. Durant isn't even on the MVP ladder right now. One of the greatest players to ever lace up is in the midst of one of the most productive and efficient seasons of his entire career, and the man can't even crack the MVP leaderboard. But both SGA and KD are doing amazing things on losing teams. What about the players who are playing like the league's most valuable player on winning teams, like Devin Booker? Booker is leading a title-contending team to one of the best records in the NBA, and he's averaging career highs across the board in production and efficiency, putting up 28, 6, and 5 a game. The man was first-team All-NBA last season, and he's playing even better this season. But this season is not like any other, because Devin Booker is 8th on the MVP ladder. Oh, but what about Joel Embiid? The beast in the East just put up one of the greatest regular season performances in NBA history.
That's unapologetic,
really.
too.
Embiid's 59-point bomb against the Jazz last week was the 7th best regular season game in league history. Yeah, that guy is 6th on the MVP ladder. 32, 10, and 5 a game, literally prime Shaq numbers. And the man hasn't even cracked the top 5. You've never seen this before, and neither have I. The MVP race this season is deeper than it's ever been. What was once considered a historically great season may not even earn a player any MVP votes at all this season. The standard for what it takes to be the most valuable player in the NBA has reached an all-time high, and it's going to take an all-time season to win the coveted award. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, until next time.
It's so interesting watching Jimmy's videos because he always breaks it down with all the numbers. They're always so entertaining. But I don't know. I think Luka deserves to be the MVP this year. Granted, his team's not doing the best. I feel like Jason Tatum, the Celtics, don't they have the best record in the NBA right now? Regardless of that, this is going to be a really interesting year for all the MVP awards, for the finals, the playoffs. It's going to be crazy towards the end. But comment down below what you guys think. And let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate all you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video, all right? Peace.